Residents in Oakland's Upper Dimond neighborhood jolted Wednesday by a pre-dawn raid by FBI agents. It was part of a federal racketeering crackdown of the Oakland Sureños gang.
America, we just witnessed a significant gang takedown in Oakland. Federal agents arrested 9 members of the Oakland Sureños gang in a coordinated pre-dawn raid, charging them with racketeering, conspiracy in connection with 2 murders, 3 attempted murders, and a massive drug and firearm trafficking operation. But here's what's really shocking. This criminal enterprise has been operating in Oakland for years. While residents live in fear, it took federal intervention to finally bring them to justice. What is up, guys? Tyson Dela Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. This story perfectly illustrates why we need serious law enforcement to take down these transnational criminal organizations that local authorities can't or won't handle. Let me break down what happened Wednesday morning at 4 a.m. FBI agents working with over 24 law enforcement agencies executed 9 simultaneous search warrants across the Oakland area in a coordinated operation that residents will never forget.
Investigation targeted members of 2 Sureño street gangs in Oakland, and residents were shocked when the FBI showed up here in the Upper Dimond district.
I felt everything, I heard everything, and I heard the big explosions.
Residents in the Upper Dimond district were jolted awake by what sounded like explosions as FBI agents breached locations. This wasn't just a simple arrest. This was a full-scale federal operation targeting a criminal enterprise that has been terrorizing Oakland neighborhoods for years.
Serious felony assaults include beatings with baseball bats, stabbings, pistol whippings. It was a very well-organized crew.
FBI agents raided an Oakland home Wednesday, just one stop in a much larger investigation that stretches back to 2016.
The scale of this operation was massive. FBI agents, Oakland police, even an ambulance was on standby, a coordinated effort that had been in the works for months. Kudos to the police department, because this wasn't a reactive policing job. This was a strategic dismantling of a criminal organization.
FBI agents stormed a home on Coloma Street and Fruitvale Avenue in the Upper Dimond district in Oakland.
Bedroom window is adjacent to the home that's on the side of the house, and I heard banging, and then I heard the FBI say FBI search warrant really loud.
Think about what this means for the community. Residents who have been living in fear with these gang members finally heard the words
FBI search warrant
at 4 a.m. That's the sound of justice coming a knocking. Criminals who thought they were untouchable. Now let's talk about what these 9 defendants were actually doing. This wasn't just street level crime. This was an organized criminal enterprise with connections to the Mexican Mafia prison gang, operating under the larger Sureños organization. The indictment reveals that these criminals were members of 2 specific cliques: SAP, originally San Antonio Park, and SSL-502, Southside Locos, combined with 502, the telephone country code for Guatemala. These weren't just neighborhood gangs. They were part of a sophisticated criminal network with international connections.
The shootings were brazen, sometimes during broad daylight, at crowded parties at night, in parks, on streets, and in homes. We've even had violence associated with this groups that have occurred within churches.
2 murders, 3 attempted murders, drug smuggling, gun running. We're talking about criminal enterprise that was destroying Oakland communities while generating massive amounts of profit. And according to the Justice Department, several of these defendants are unlawfully residing in the United States, aka illegal. The Department of Justice made it clear that this operation was part of Operation Takeback America, President Trump's nationwide initiative to eliminate cartels and transnational criminal organizations. This is exactly what federal law enforcement should be doing. Let's talk about the specific violence these criminals committed. The indictment alleges that in 2019, members of this organization committed 2 murders of the men who were perceived to be rivals of Oakland Sureños. But it wasn't just murders, it was a pattern of violence that terrorized entire neighborhoods. The indictment describes more than a half a dozen criminal acts, including 3 attempted murders, 2 with firearms and 1 with a baseball bat, attempted robbery, and extensive narcotics and firearm trafficking.
Hi, do you have anything to say about what happened here this morning?
Throughout the morning, FBI agents collected evidence from this home as well as from 2 cars. This white truck has plates registered to Edwin Cano Merida, one of the suspects arrested.
One of the suspects who's facing charges for his role in a 2021 attempted murder. This level of evidence collected shows the thoroughness of the federal investigation. United States Attorney Craig Missikin said it perfectly. Like people are everywhere, the residents of Oakland deserve a safe and peaceful neighborhood, not one filled with fear and selfless violence. That is exactly right. But it took federal intervention to make it happen because the local authorities couldn't handle it. And of course, we know this is in California. What really gets me about this case is how these criminals were operating with complete impunity in Oakland neighborhoods. Residents were living in fear while these gang members controlled territories, committed murders, and ran drug operations. The connections to the Mexican cartel is exactly what I've been talking about. These aren't just local gangs. They're part of a transnational criminal organizations that are destroying American communities. The SAP clique originally claimed San Antonio Park as their territory. The SSL-502 clique controlled areas around 72nd Avenue before expanding to Arroyo Viejo Park. Think about that. These criminals were claiming public parks as their territory, parks where children should be playing instead of controlled by gang members who were committing murders and trafficking drugs. FBI acting special agents said the alleged criminal activity of these gang members has plagued Oakland neighborhoods and put innocent residents at risk. Plagued is the key word in that sentence, you guys. These neighborhoods have been under siege by these criminals who thought that they were above the law. What I want to give credit for is the federal response to this criminal enterprise. This investigation involved FBI, Oakland Police Department, and FBI SF East Bay Violent Crimes Task Force with assistance from the Drug Enforcement Administration. The charges reflect the seriousness of these crimes. Each defendant is charged with racketeering conspiracy, which carries a maximum penalty of 20 years in prison and $250,000 in fines. But 6 defendants are facing special sentencing factors that could result in life in prison for their roles in murders and attempted murders. This case was investigated and prosecuted as part of Operation Takeback America, the nationwide initiative that marshals the full resources of the Department of Justice to eliminate cartels and transnational criminal organizations. 6 suspects were arrested on Wednesday morning, 2 were already in custody, and 1 is on the run. The fact that several of these defendants are unlawfully residing in the United States shows you exactly why we need strong immigration enforcement alongside criminal justice efforts. Assistant Chief James Beery of the Oakland Police Department said, "These individuals have caused lasting damages to our communities for years. Their violent actions, including shootings and homicides, have left families in mournings and communities changed forever." America, this Oakland gang bust perfectly illustrates why we need federal law enforcement to take on these transnational criminal organizations. Local authorities in Oakland couldn't or wouldn't deal with these criminals who were committing murders, trafficking drugs, and terrorizing entire neighborhoods. It took a coordinated federal operation involving multiple agencies, months of investigation, and the full resources of Operation Takeback America to finally bring these criminals to justice. 9 members of a criminal enterprise with connections to Mexican cartels operating with impunity in American neighborhoods finally facing serious federal charges. The residents of Oakland's Upper Dimond District who were woken up by FBI raidings at 4 a.m. That is the sound of America taking back our streets from criminal organizations. That is what happens when we have leadership that's serious about dismantling cartels and protecting American communities. These criminals thought that they could claim public parks as their territory, commit murders with impunity, and run drug operations without consequences. They, unfortunately, were wrong. When you operate a criminal enterprise in America, eventually federal law enforcement is going to come a knocking, and they're not going to knock politely. Let me know what you think about this. Drop it down in the comments section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.